All right, we are now on to our fan favorites, shout outs and rants. Mr. Armstrong, what do you have for us? And you're on mute.
I'm not sure if mine's it's certainly not a rant. It's a bit of a shout out, but it's a go get 'em girl to our friend Diana Trevely. Diana had a tragic horse riding accident in Argentina. She has come back in an air ambulance to Houston. I think she arrived back on the 29th. And so it's sending love, praise, thoughts to Diana and to Linda, her mum, and Melissa, her sister. And it is a shout out to the compliance community as well. Almost $70,000 has been raised from 416 people last time I looked to help get Diana back to the US. So well done to everybody who supported that. And as I say, love, thoughts, and prayers with Diana and her nearest and dearest.
Kelly.
I have one of each, a shout out and a rant. First, I want to give a shout out to Microsoft, which the other day picked up a new law firm, Jenner Block, which is one of the firms that is fighting the Donald Trump executive order against it. And what was interesting here is that Microsoft also dropped one of the firms, Simpson, Thacher, and Bartlett, that has cut a deal with the Trump administration. Now, nobody has expressly said that Microsoft is dropping Simpson Bartlett, Simpson Thacher, because they are now in Trump orbit, and picked up Jenner Block because it is fighting what is clearly an illegal order and a unconstitutional attempt to constrain people's right to counsel. But it is nice to see that a large corporation is not afraid to pick up one of these firms that is fighting the Trump executive order, and at the expense of one of the firms that tried to cut a deal. Honestly, I think in the fullness of time, these half dozen firms or so that have cut deals with the Trump administration are going to rue the day they did that. Because if you're a corporate client and you have issues with the Trump administration, you can no longer trust one of those firms that has cut a deal with the Trump administration that they're going to act in your best interests. They never should have done it. I praise Jenner Block and some of the others who are fighting it, and it's nice to see that Microsoft probably just didn't care. And for whatever reason, Jenner Block was the best firm for its legal business that it had. They hired them. Great. Love to see it. The rant is against Republicans in Congress who moved this week to abolish the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. That happened at the House Financial Services Committee. It is still a long way from being a done deal, but I do suspect when everything is said and done, the Republicans in Congress, yeah, they're going to do this probably, because I don't think there's a strong natural constituency to try and defend the PCAOB when there should be. It is not a good idea to abolish the audit industry's regulator and subsume those duties into the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is what Project 2025 and Republicans have been wanting to do pretty much since Republicans created the PCAOB 23 years ago with the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This is not going to help the audit industry. It is going to make inspections take longer. It is going to make enforcement against errant audit firms less likely. It is not going to save companies really a dime. It's not going to save taxpayers a dime because taxpayers don't pay the budget for PCAOB or the SEC. This is not a cost-cutting thing for any taxpayer dollars. But really, the fundamental issue here is, are audit standards keeping pace with the fast-moving ways that business gets done and technology is happening? No, they're not. Will that happen and improve if audit is under the SEC? Absolutely not. It'll get even worse and even slower. And will this help smaller audit firms get back into the business of auditing public companies to try and keep audit fees down? I don't think that's going to happen either. The SEC is probably going to make oversight of the audit industry the redheaded stepchild of a very diminished agency anyways. This is just a bad idea. And so what did Republicans in Congress do? They poured gasoline on it this week. And it's going to be a shame if the PCAOB goes up in flames. There we go. That's it.
Karen Moore.
Yeah, I'm afraid I've got a rant as well. In Soviet Russia, especially in the Stalinist period, children were encouraged to report on their parents for anti-state activities. One Pavlik Morozov was hailed as a hero when he reported on his father, even though his father was later absolved from having engaged in any illegal activities. End of February, Department of Education in the United States launched a portal where students, children, and their parents can report on anti-DEI activities. They are limited to illegal discriminatory practices, but what is the world coming to where teachers now are in fear for their livelihood should a disgruntled child or their parent decide to report them for further investigation? Or whatever
Karen-
more conclusions you may.
On that cheery note, Karen Woody.
I'm going back to my pop culture references. This time I have another shout out because of the timeliness and some stroke of genius by whoever in Hollywood decided to release Conclave this year because it's a fantastic movie. It is obviously very timely. I felt almost bad because I saw it on the plane the night before the Pope died. So I thought, oh my gosh. I then decided maybe I should watch other documentaries. But I thought it was a fantastic show, very interesting, obviously a little probably sensationalized, maybe an interesting look into what's going on right now in the Vatican. So that was my shout out.
I'm going to have my first breaking news shout out because today San Antonio Spurs head coach Gregg Popovich retired as a head coach. He has the most wins of any head coach in the National Basketball Association at 422. He has coached 2,291 games for the Spurs. That's the most of any one team head coach. He won 3 Coach of the Year awards, 2003, 2012, 2013. He has 5 NBA championships. He is generally recognized as one of the top 2 or 3 coaches of all times, and he's on the right side of history when it comes to social justice. Tip of the hat to Gregg Popovich. He had a serious stroke in the fall and has not been able to return to coaching. He had a great run. Coach Pop. So, ladies and gentlemen, great episode, a lot of fun. I can't wait till we get back together again.
Compliance Podcast Network. Start your mornings with daily compliance news, quick, sharp updates on the top compliance and ethics stories in under 5 minutes every morning in Compliance Podcast Network. Because compliance never sleeps. Need practical advice fast? Check out Compliance Tip of the Day, one actionable idea to level up your program. Short and sweet, every day on Compliance Podcast Network. Got 10 minutes? We've got the week's top 10 stories. 10 for 10 brings you the big compliance headlines. Fast, fun, and focused. Every Saturday on Compliance Podcast Network. And don't miss the Sunday Book Review, where compliance meets culture through must-read books and big ideas every Sunday in Compliance Podcast Network. Whether you're in the office, on a walk, or commuting, stay smart, stay ethical, stay tuned. Only on the Compliance Podcast Network, available wherever you listen to podcasts.